Howdy! I got a couple of questions about Bitcoin and I want to address them. A gentleman called Martin emailed me, and rather than just answering it to Martin specifically, I'm just going to make a video because I think a lot of people will benefit from the great questions. The first one is, who controls Bitcoin and who was or is Satoshi? So the creator of Bitcoin is a pseudonym called Satoshi Nakamoto. Okay, so we don't know who he, she, or they are. I think it's likely a group of people, a group of cypherpunks, including Hal Finney and a couple of others. But the answer to the question is, it doesn't matter. Okay, who created Gaelic football? Can't remember. Does that person who created have any influence over Gaelic football today? Not one bit. Who created soccer? No idea. Do they have any influence over the game of soccer today? Zero. Okay? So it doesn't matter who created it, but here's the caveat. Here's the interesting thing. Here's the thing that gives me goosebumps when I talk about it. You find me a technology in the history of humanity when someone created a technology that could have enriched them and made them possibly the wealthiest person on planet Earth, and they took zero money out of it. They didn't even take a penny. Because Satoshi has mined 1 million Bitcoins. Remember, every other crypto asset, Ethereum Foundation, they pre-mined all the coins. They gave them himself for free, and then they made the plebs, the idiots, the fools, buy them all. Okay? But not with Bitcoin. Satoshi could have coding up 1 million Bitcoins for himself, but he didn't. It was different how Satoshi created Bitcoin. He done it through proof of work mining, which means he burned his electricity to create the Bitcoins that he has. So Satoshi mined 1 million Bitcoins, and they sit dormant in a wallet for the length of Bitcoin, 13, 14 years now, and they haven't moved. And that's the largest single source of wealth, treasure chest of wealth in our planet. And Satoshi never spent a penny. And it's likely those coins never move, because Bitcoin was a gift to humanity. It was a gift to people. Okay, it wasn't a for-profit organization. Nobody owns Bitcoin. That's why Satoshi took such amazing steps to cover his identity. And once Bitcoin got launched, he walked away from it as early as possible. So it wouldn't have a single point of failure. It wouldn't have a creator, a charismatic leader, as all these other crypto tokens have. Okay, so that is the beauty of Bitcoin. You know, like, I think it could be like the Terminator. Humans came back from the future and planted this thing here and then fecked off back. Far-fetched? Well, I don't know. When you understand Bitcoin and the ingeniousness of it, and that it's possibly the greatest invention humanity has ever achieved, you sort of open yourself up to wild possibilities, lads. Okay. I struggle with the concept of any world government allowing an asset to compromise their control and the fiat system. And I'd 100% agree with that, Martin. You would think that they would not want Bitcoin to succeed. And had they have tried to stamp Bitcoin out, 12 years ago, there might have been a chance because it was so small. But now it's so decentralized, okay? It's so networked, it's impossible to stop. Because we don't have a one world government, thankfully. We have individual governments, small countries, nation states. Okay, and that's the beauty of this world. Well, if we ever trend to a one world government, that'll be terrible. But I don't think that can happen, because North Korea doesn't like China, China doesn't like America, America doesn't like Russia, Russia doesn't like the Germans. You know what I mean? And that's the way I want to keep it. Okay, because when we seen China, who have the most control over their people, like 100x China's more control over any country, any European country. They couldn't ban Bitcoin. And guess what? When they did ban Bitcoin, did it stop Bitcoin? Didn't make one bit of difference to the Bitcoin. It just meant China couldn't get the money out of Bitcoin. Instead of collecting the taxes, they pushed it all offshore. That's why they flipped and flopped over the Bitcoin ban so many times now. Because they ban it and they're like, we lose all the money, unban it. And then they unban it and they're like, oh, this thing is actually jeopardizes our control. Ban it. And then they ban it and their people still have the Bitcoin. So it's beautiful. There's countries in the world that are embracing Bitcoin. Look at El Salvador. Okay, and this is the beauty of having Bitcoin. You'll have choice in the future. When most countries which are trending towards socialism and then communism, and then that blows up and then we go back to free markets. If you study money, if you study history, if you study the evolution of humans, we do this over and over. We've done it for the length of humanity. We have free markets. We get crony capitalism, the money centralizes, then we get socialism, it develops into communism, that blows up and the cycle continues. We're just living through this, okay? But Bitcoin might disrupt that. Bitcoin might disrupt the thousands and thousands of years of society following these cycles, okay? because it puts power in the individual and nobody can stop it. And there's countries that have embraced it, and there's countries that won't embrace it and will go the socialism, communism route. They'll bring us central bank digital money, okay, like China have done. It'll be an absolute disaster for the people, and those people won't have choice. But people who learn about Bitcoin, you guys have choice, all right? And that's why it's so important. Give yourself, just call it insurance for your future. And it plays on my mind that they would manipulate it or destroy it. Bitcoin at the moment can't be destroyed. So surface level, Bitcoin is about 1,000 levels deep. Most people live up on the surface and they just have clickbait headlines. They've never read a single book on Bitcoin. So they're absolutely clueless. So you should not listen to what they say. And this includes most journalists who write on the subject. You know, don't ask someone who's 25 stone for a bit of advice on weight loss. Do you get me? But we do. So Bitcoin is the largest supercomputer on the planet. It's got a physical footprint, meaning it's got physical presence. Okay, it's not like all the other crypto tokens, which are just virtual assets. They've no connection to the real world. Proof of work mining is the invention. That's one, it's not the only amazing thing that Bitcoin does, but it's one of the keys. That proof of work mining is the connection from the digital world to pull that connection into the physical world. Okay, most other crypto tokens just live in the digital world, so they've nothing to tether them. They're not backed by anything. Bitcoin is backed by energy the same way gold is backed by energy. If I have a gold coin in my hand, a gold miner is my enemy, because every time he prints gold, by going to mine gold, that devalues my investment. Okay, if I own an investment property, a builder is my enemy, because every time they lay another block and build another house, they're devaluing my property because they're printing houses by building them. Okay, Bitcoin is backed by energy the same way gold is backed by energy, and property is backed by energy, because it takes energy to create property. You can't just click and magic a house, just like you can click and magic euros. Okay, and that's why property is better money than euros, and that's why gold is better money than euros. But Bitcoin is better money than euros and gold and property. Bitcoin is better money because it takes the most energy to create it, and it's not even just scarce and backed by energy, but it has a finite and fixed supply. Okay, so nobody can mess with Bitcoin. It's an open permissionless protocol, and I'll go back to the rules of soccer, or Gaelic, like I mentioned earlier. We'll say soccer. How can you stop me going out into my garden here, kicking a football around and playing the rules of soccer? You can't. How do you police that? You can't. It's impossible. Okay? Me and my buddies can throw two jumpers on the ground and play soccer. You can't stop that. Anyone can buy pieces of hardware off the internet, they're not Bitcoin specific, and create a Bitcoin node and play Bitcoin. It can't be stopped, guys. And when you realise that, you realise that all the FUD and all the nonsense, you don't worry about all that stuff. You laugh about it and you just enjoy the price corrections because you get to accumulate the asset at better rates. And this is what being an investor is. I urge you, continue learning. Thanks for the questions, Martin. Hopefully you got some value out of this, and hopefully everyone else did too. Hit the like button and share this content. And if there's any other questions or any other things you want me to elaborate on, stick it in the comments. I'd be delighted to cover them. Guys, have a super day. If you need any help building your plan to retire early, bitcoinwithdinny.com. We do everything for you. We set it all up. You let the market take care of it. You go on, live your life, have the crack. Dinny out!